Well, welcome everybody. Well, hello there, Ben. How are you?
What's up, Charles? How did I get on? What's going on? I'm here. Ditch goals. I don't know. I clicked on an email I shouldn't have. I don't know, and now I'm here.
Yeah, it happens. You know, the things that happen on a Sunday morning are just incredible sometimes. You know.
Yep. This is
so, welcome everybody to our final Sunday Guitar Safari. Now, if you are still looking for a Sunday show, there will be another show next Sunday, and just kind of trying to figure out what that is going to be. But we are here for our final Sunday Guitar Safari. And for those of you that don't know, Seth got a part-time job, so we moved Guitar Safari to a new time slot on Friday evenings, 8 o'clock Central. That is 6 o'clock Pacific for all my Western Canadian friends. And for people like
Western
Ben,
American friends too, you know, like your co-host, who's, you know,
yeah, that too, you know, small
that's
detail.
Girls always thinking of others except for the family, I guess. Seems like a nice guy.
And if you're someone like Ben, that would be 9 o'clock.
9 Eastern for the majority of the population of North America.
Of course.
Just saying.
Right,
wow, we already got a whole bunch of people in the chat there, Charles. It's almost like you have a fan base or something. I don't know. This is scary.
I don't know. We've got our buddy Herb from Fireside Studio that was
always first in your chat. Always.
You want to guess who he's followed by?
Without looking, I want to say my music-in-law, Ryan Hall.
You are right on it. And our special guest from Friday, Octopus Ears, is in the chat.
Just giving her.
And remind me before we leave to go ahead and drop his channel link into the chat because he's got that show starting on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, even though he calls it a morning show. I don't know how you call it a morning show when it's on at 1 in the afternoon. Oh, right, because he's also on the West Coast. It's 10 a.m. for him.
That is right. It certainly is. And of course, our buddy Wayne McConnell is here.
Awesome, Wayne. Fellow Canuck, I do believe. He seems either that or he's infatuated with the Canadiana, is what I'm saying. You know, I'm just saying. He'll put out a comment like, oh, okay.
And then my fellow Texan, Ferd Burfel.
What's up, Ferd? Missed you on Wednesday.
So, no, Eddie, it's not necessarily the pre-final. It is just the final time that Guitar Safari as a show will be on Sunday. From now on, it is on Fridays at 8 p.m. Central. And I am working on a new show to go in here, looking for probably going to be, I'm thinking maybe kind of an interview show or a show with another co-host. Right. So if there's someone that is interested out there that's just been dying to do this kind of thing, reach out. Emails on my channel. And of course, Gear Junkie 35. Good morning to you, sir.
What's up, my friend?
And another Canadian, Blackjack Guitar. Hello.
Yep.
And we got Dave Chase. Dave Chase in the chat.
I have a question for Dave, which I can't answer in the chat, but I've been meaning to at the Water Buffalo meetings because Dave Chase, formerly known as Big Wave Dave. I don't understand how you're living in Hawaii, Charles, for years, right? Which, as a Canadian, I just see that as paradise, right? And he goes, you know what? I think I'd prefer New Hampshire and freeze my balls off 4 months of the year. I help a fella understand. So next Water Buffalo meeting, I need an answer to that, Dave.
But I think I've got that one covered.
Oh, okay.
He's been gone too long. He doesn't remember. He just has the nostalgic memory of how good things are in the winter. Right?
You're right. Well, sort of like when you traveled back to Connecticut recently, you're like, this is exactly how I remember it. Cold and damp. Well, I get it.
Well, you know, there's what snow looks like and how cold it is, and that's fine. But when it starts turning into slush and ice, it's a completely different thing.
It's all fine when it's all on TV in a Hallmark movie. Absolutely.
That's right.
When you got to chip it up your windshield because you're late for work, not fun.
And we have our friend Sean Hockley in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning.
Michael, hockey, as in the sport.
Yeah.
I shoot the goal. No.
Wow, Sean Hockey. Yes, you were so right.
Hey,
My
I'm wearing
apologies.
my glasses, Charles. I'm wearing my glasses. Notice in the thumbnail we're both wearing glasses, but on screen, us is wearing glasses.
I can't wear your glasses. They're not here.
Well, this is true. This is true.
Martin Lemaire is in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. And Rico B. Mark's gas station.
Michael B. live.
Yep, Michael B. live.
Yeah. Oh, and because Seth's not here, Rico B. There you go.
And Keith H. And Jeff K.
He's here.
Works is up early with us. Good morning to you, sir.
Great shirt. Thank you.
And I love that shirt.
But it's apparently a rule. Charles wrote it in. It's like an anti-rider. I don't give the demands he does. He's like, if you're going to be on the show, and if you look, folks, every time I've appeared, I got to wear a shirt of somebody from Texas. So it's either like the ZZ Top or the Willie, or he's just make sure. And I know it's Gear Junkie. I can't click to highlight stuff. He's a second cup of coffee and pack in a bowl. Substitute coffee for tea, and right there with you. It's one of the reasons I didn't sign on until 5 minutes before 12, Charles. I'm just saying.
Oh, there he is. All right.
Here's Janice.
Good morning to you, Janice. How are you?
And Rico's got a ZZ shirt on as well. That's
of course.
Awesome. Hey, Hip Metalworks. Good morning. William De Silva. We get West Coast. Takes him a minute.
Yeah.
Jeff K.
And our buddy Riff. Riff was kind of upset that he missed the Friday show, right? A lot of folks. It was really weird.
Well, he was busy. I think he was still traveling. Was that Friday? He was. I know he recently. No. That was earlier in the week, right? Because he actually Riff drove by my house, Charles. A half hour before the dump truck took out the telephone pole on my road. So, because he's like, I drove by your house and that was not happening. I'm like, I believe you.
I love Michael Krause's statement. His wife says that Connecticut is too far south.
His wife is weird. Well, then again, she's married to Michael Krause, so we know she's weird.
Yes.
I get to say that because he insults me all the time. So, payback. I got a microphone. Steve Monk, leave free or die. Well, I don't know. As opposed to Hawaii, what's theirs? Relax, surf, and smoke some Maui Wowie? Like, I don't know. I'm thinking I'd prefer January's in Hawaii. Oh, and Dave spent 5 years in Moscow before.
Whoa!
What? What's going on? Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
You want to know is this a CIA thing, or was he captured and made prisoner, or
I'm not saying, because Charles, how your channel name and your handles are two different things sometimes, because fellas and fellettes, when you create your handle, make it the same as your channel name. Really cuts down on, because when you guys leave comments, when Charles and I go in the YouTube studio, we don't see the screen names that you see. We see your handles. So we're like, who's that? And I'm not saying his handle's Dave the Fed. Makes me really consider my lifestyle choices during Buffalo meetings, Charles. I'm just saying.
This is true. Well, Sean Hockey loves your shirt, so.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Yeah, picked her up at the Big Tig, Giant Tiger discount. I think I paid $8 for it.
There you go. You can never
She's
beat
from
that.
Vermont, and yes, if she married me, she has questionable taste.
Yeah.
It's like Dave says he's not smart enough. Well, that's why you fit right in on the water buffalo, right? He's like, this Ben guy's pretty smart. No, I am not. That's more of a say. What's up, BC Rich?
You could say on the water buffalo meetings that we are a motley crew,
right? It's
hello, BC Rich.
It's I don't know, like shop class on Wednesday morning in high school. I do not know.
Yeah. So today,
yes,
we're
10 minutes into the show, Charles, and we've not even mentioned the topic, Adam, which is why you love having me on. I know.
No, it's we're taking a page from some other channels right now. It's one of those things.
Off the rails, like my channel.
You have to. Sometimes you have to be off the rails, and and when you have a great group like this that shows up, then then you want to talk to them and you want to say hello and you kind of forget where you're going, right? You get that distraction.
Yep. Michael B was just asking when the next Water Buffalo meeting is. That will be Saturday, November 4th, Charles.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, we'll create it live on air here, folks. Saturday, November 4th.
Here, let me stop what I'm doing and
let's stop Charles's show and take care of my channel members and patrons.
Sure. Anyway.
Well, it's the first Saturday. It's generally the first Saturday of the month, unless Ben actually has plans or a life. Oh, Ryan's back.
Yep, Ryan's back, and yes.
Yeah, sorry, Charles Green and Seth.
Choice here.
Okay. So BC Rich does guitar lessons on Wednesdays.
That makes a lot of sense.
And Michael B will be at a conference. Well, if the conference is boring, tune in on your phone, right? We can do that.
Sean Hockey, that is a really good question. Yes, you can.
More on that coming out soon. That's all I'll say.
Yes, you can. Let's just say that there's a project being currently worked on my workbench that does involve concert T-shirts, and you will soon be seeing it on several different channels, I believe.
Well, and this is the thing. Like Charles, he's got two ways when he does his builds. There's the building it for himself, so we'll see every step of the way as he does it, as opposed to someone that's going to get an unboxing involved. So then it's the big reveal. So what he'll do is he'll still shoot all the videos, but he just holds on. They're in the archives, if you will, and then they get released for public consumption once the customer receives it. When they open the box, because I've been there. When you open the box from Charles, says that's in a good way. So, and yes, it is ABBA and Village People T-shirts. Sadly, I saw that.
Oh. Interesting. Very interesting.
Welcome to my world, Charles. This is how BC Rich has been treating me for 6 years on YouTube. So appreciate that.
I know how to fix that, Ben. That's my first base project.
Yeah. Right. Eddie K asked Charles, what's the long-term plan for the show when you get tapped as Speaker of the House?
We'll just fabric top from the floor. It'll be awesome.
First thing he's going to do is fabric wrap that dais.
That's right.
Screw this wood look. He's like, nope, fabric.
It's been done.
So yes, the topic of the show. Wait, I can read this. Tools of the trade. What gear do you need to get the tone you want? So this topic came up as a result of Charles not thinking about a topic all week, and then texting a fellow last night. Hey, what's up, Ryan? And our 2 or 3 Locking Nut. Where's Trev?
Okay.
Trev?
How are you?
Trev said he was going to try to make it. He's already missed 20% of the show, Trev. If you're watching on replay, Trev. So we're talking about, topics and this. I said, well, you can't go wrong with the old topic, tools of the trade. What do you need? You get palette. One main need, like if you're say a hired gun for the studio,
Yeah, I mean, it's those things you have to think about. What do you have in the arsenal there, right? I mean, what do you have to get the tones you're going? And then there's some folks that they are chasing a specific tone, and or a genre or wherever it may be. And what tools do you need to get there? And so I don't know. Is Ben frozen for everybody else, or is it just me? There's a whole lot of talking back and forth in the chat, but okay. So Ben is frozen. Thank you, Ryan Hall. Yeah, and so we're just kind of talking about it. And so in the chat, what kind of tones are you looking for, and what is some of the gear that you've kind of pulled in to try to get there? Yeah, it looks like he had a bandwidth problem. He should be back in a little bit. Well, he can probably try to come back in. So Octopus Ears is saying, find that guitar you want to pick up every day. And
I was talking to myself for about 14 minutes. I swear, I was just talking away. I'm like, wait. I looked up and I had spinny wheels where there was cameras, and I went,
yeah.
Uh-oh, was that me or Charles? And then I have intermittent crappy connection at this point in life, Charles. My internet's decided to do this like daily now.
Oh yeah, well, it's
the
thing about and that's the thing about StreamYard, right? You're on StreamYard, you don't know if it's you or your guest freezing.
Yep.
It's like I've been frozen before in the early days of doing the show, and I thought it was the other person.
Okay, now I'm reading the rest of the chat because I was like, what the deuce, like. I realized the chat stopped moving. I'm like, it's probably me. That's our pro tip, Charles. If the chat stops moving too, it's probably you.
It's you.
What's up, Josh? Tools of the trade. Find the guitar you want to pick up every day, multiple times a day. That's step one for me. Yes. Hey, Mr. BHB Jr. Is that Bruce? It is Bruce.
Yep, that is Bruce.
Does it have anything to do with that telephone pole, Ben? More than likely, because it's always the Bell vans I see over there. Can they just put the fiber line in and then Ben can have real internet? Yes.
I'll say, while you were gone, I asked everybody what they're doing for tone and how they're kind of getting there.
Right.
So BC Rich says for bass, the best tone he's found is the slight growl in Jet City Woman.
Of wood. Yep.
Right, by AIC. And that's a para and touch of chorus.
Yeah, parametric EQ with a touch of chorus.
That's what that is. I was wondering.
Blended situation. More. Bruce is sharing way too much information in the chat, Charles. I'm just saying. That's mental images we don't need, Bruce.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least he's telling us and not demonstrating it on camera.
Well, this is the thing. He hasn't asked for the link. This is good. This is good. and I want to point out, because Bruce was looking for Ryan Hall's channel the other day, that there is actually a channel out there called Ryan Hall, y'all, and it's not Ryan Hall. But I giggled like a 13-year-old girl with her best friend because I was just Ryan Hall, y'all, and I immediately thought that's Ryan, but it wasn't.
It is exactly what you would think he would call his channel, though. Right?
What's the name of your channel? Ryan Hall, y'all.
Okay, so Herman's working on a new Friday short.
Nice.
Yeah, so I enjoy his shorts every Friday. I look forward to them, and I'm like, okay, come on,
Fridays.
Sometimes he's kind and he gives me a preview. It's kind of
nice. As long as Bruce doesn't give us a preview, that's all I have. Anyway,
Eddie's got a really good question that might help us.
There's a resource that lists what amp settings, pedal settings, cabs, guitars, etc. were used for a given song. Yes, you generally you will be deep diving a lot of forums. Also, I don't know if Guitar World ever digitized their back catalog, Charles, because quite often they would do like a rig rundown, or artist interviews. What do you use on that? You get that. Depending on the publication, right? Like if it.
Well, there's always more than one story out there, and and they never seem to jive. So, okay, and wow, Bruce is saying his phone is waterproof, so I don't know if we're being threatened or what. And Herb Fireside Studios, he has an 11 rack arriving on Monday, which he's really excited to try out. And Michael B. Live says bass SRV variant active MM setup, parallel path, clean for lows and odd. Guitar Marshall variant, OD chorus, little delay, and sometimes a univibe or octave. LPs all the way for playability and tone. That is a lot of information there. That's pretty cool, though. Yeah, Eddie. I think it's one of those kind of things you have to kind of go out and search, because it's usually a lot of times it'll be in, like, if you look on YouTube and they'll be doing a rig rundown and I'll kind of get you. But I don't know that if there is a single source to go ahead and do that.
I hate digitals. Hate them.
Yes.
Hate them. Hate them. Hate them. Hate them. Now, okay, so now I don't know how clear this is. Let me know, because I'm daisy chaining off my phone now. I said,
all right,
through the home internet.
For me, it's coming in very clear right now.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I got 2 bars. I wonder how much cell data I got left for on the month.
I'm sure we're about to find out.
We're teching. So,
Ed, I know when we left, you were kind of talking about, rig rundowns and articles in magazines, but Eddie was really looking for, is there someplace online where you can look and check that out?
Hey, apparently I have exactly a gig left. This is not good.
Ooh.
I'm gonna try to switch my connection. We'll see what happens here, if it's flawless or not. Because apparently the home connects back, because I don't have the data to be able to do the show for another 40 minutes.
This is all part of the excitement. And so.
Oh, yes. I think I'm still here.
You are still here.
Woo-hoo! Hey, Lucas.
Hey, Lucas. Good morning to you, my friend.
Well, good morning. It's 6 p.m. for him.
I'm still going to say good morning, because it's morning for me for another, 40 minutes or so.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong data. That was the data for my iPad. Oh, we got 4 gigs left. All right. Well, in that case, we'll switch back over to the data on the phone. If it drops again, a fellow will just switch over to his phone.
All right. Well, there's a plan. And Lawrence Cash just kind of came in. So
now, good morning to him, because he's in Alaska.
Yes.
So, yes, definitely good morning. And I saw a fellow got his LPD loosened in the mail. I'm saying.
Oh, very good. I think we're losing you again. Yeah, so Lucas did just have dinner, and so we're glad that he's in with us. Lucas, we're talking about tools of the trade and what gear you need to get your tone. So that's where we're going today. All right, and so I have my co-host back. Awesome.
I'm blurry, but I'm here. There. Oh no, there we go. Yeah. All right. Oh, yeah. I got to do a show tonight. How's this going to work out, Charles?
I don't know.
So yeah, I'm. Oh. Yeah, and it's a hassle to call the company that the phone's in Dad's name, and Dad can't talk anymore. And
well, one of the things that could help is before the show, go ahead and reset your routers and stuff.
Yeah, because I only do that every other day.
Yeah. It's one of the few things you can do. Try to grab a new connection to it and hope it works.
Well, this will be a test here. We'll see how much data I use during this. So, anywho's and how's tools of the trade. There's, I'm going to say up to a dozen guitars alone. I'm going to just mainly stick with guitars, Charles.
All right.
Do the show from Tim Hortons and use the free Wi-Fi. Yeah, but then you got to hang it at Tim Hortons. So I don't know that. Ryan will come over, hold the wire. All right.
That's the best ever. That is the best ever.
Yeah. So you need a variety of guitars to cover a variety of tones, Charles. You're going to need a single coil guitar, for sure. Now, I don't know if you need, say, both a Strat and a Tele, but at least one of, I'm going to say. At the very least.
Yeah, I think
because they do sound different.
They do sound different. It's more so on the bridge, right? Because that Tele bridge is really
the neck of a Tele is different than the neck of a Strat. And of course, the out of phase things. You need a Lester Pulfus shaped object or something along like a dual humbucker, solid body.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the middle position. That's why I say you need a dual humbucker for that middle chiminess. I would also say you need a semi-hollow, like a 335.
Okay.
And a full hollow, possibly a Gretsch. Or some form of full hollow, which, because again, tonal differences between solid body, semi-hollow, full. You know what? As much as I don't like them, Charles, I've come to the realization a very handy and useful tool in the studio is a single P90 pickup SG Junior. Not necessarily Lester Paul Jr., but an SG Junior.
Oh, really?
The early to mid 60s, they have a thing. They do a thing that nothing else does. I do believe, I also heard, some form of super strat, super duper strat with probably a locking trem, humbucker based. You can make an entire career out of a Telecaster in a Princeton. I would not lie about that. Although I don't know if a Princeton will necessarily keep up with a set of drums. It depends on the other amps used and how aggressive your drummer is. Because I think a Princeton, Charles, if I'm not mistaken, is only about 22 watts.
Yeah, they can be over. My understanding is they can be overpowered by by the drums and the bass in a mix, right?
Well, depending if the drum is so like, you're okay. But if it's John Bonham, who's got like bricks for shoes and and hands that weigh 14,000 pounds, no. Janice says, find that narrow necks are very uncomfortable. Okay. I don't mind the narrow necks. I find they're more comfortable than the wider necks for me, for instance. Yes, we all love Charles's beer.
So Ben, if let's kind of go to this idea of genres, right?
Okay.
What guitars go best with what genres? Would you say?
Well, of course, there's nothing's written in stone, but generally speaking, we'll say we're speaking in generalities. So, for instance, all right, well, give me a genre, Charles. You give me the genre, and I will give you.
Well, I mean, so when I think country, I think Telecasters.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean,
yes, that and see, I almost said Gretsch, like a Chet Atkins thing, but country, a Tele and something, fuller. But I don't know whether it be a 335 or a lot of times it's an acoustic as well. But definitely, Tele covers a lot of ground in country music, and we're talking everything from all the Hanks, basically, all through the generation. You can cover all the different Hanks with a Tele. Yeah, definitely. And sometimes a Les Paul, too. Middle position, I think, generally. Now, if we get into, I don't know, classic rock, let's say your 70s rock, early to mid 70s, we'll say, pre-Van Halen, we'll say. That's what I'm looking at. I'll get to you next, Herb. Easy. Right? You're going to want a Les Paul with a PAF style pickup, nothing super hot, maybe slightly hot, into a Marshall amp, and something to goose it a bit. Not a huge distortion, but a slight overdrive or the reason why, Charles, everyone ripped the PAFs out of the bridge position is they all put DiMarzio super distortions in for that extra boost because they put out an extra K of resistance, which I don't understand how more resistance equals more output. Charles, can you help me? Because resistance tells me it holds it back, so there should be less output with a higher resistance.
That all that is how pickups and the electronics and all that work is a mystery to me as well.
Digitalization, we'll call it.
And it's enough for me to know that when I turn the switch, it does this.
Yeah. Now, again, so if we're getting into the hair metal, you're going to want, I don't know if you need the 24 fret neck, Charles, but at least you need access to the upper frets, we'll say. So generally, that's where you get your Strat style body shape because it has the access. You're going to want a hot bridge pickup of a humbucker, but you may also want, the HSS setup. Like I have my Kramer, which is really great because for the mellow stuff, you can go to that. Get your Strat tones as well. Definitely locking trem because you're doing and you're making sound effects, and and you're grabbing the guitar by the wiggle stick and you're shaking it at the crowd. And I don't know what you're doing. But that's definitely you're going to want a super Strat or even a super duper Strat, which is an HSH.
All right, so say you're doing surf rock. Where do you want to go?
Surf rock, Stratocaster. For me, Stratocaster, bridge pickup all the way. You could get, you do a most right, but that was as much an endorsement deal as anything else. Some people say Jaguars, / Jazz Masters and Super Jangle. But for me, when I think surf rock, I'm thinking Dick Dale. I need a Fender amp with a big Fender reverb tank. See octopus ears. What? See these two things right here? Watch. Not knowing, struggling. Oh, Lucas. Ben, do you think you need active guitar pickups for certain tones, or do just regular pickups that are just pushed? No, because you can just get a clean boost to do whatever actives. Actives, although they will clean up. We know that. Like I got the actives in the one telly, so that does change the tone because it is quieter. But I don't know as far as output if you really need active pickups, because like having messed around with the Prophesize guitars with those Fishman Fluence, like with the modern and vintage set, it just seems to be a gain stage in there, a preamp. So what's up, Ryan?
So Sean Hockley had a comment about
Trans-Trem are an amazing tool. If you disagree, I'll have Ryan pull out the shotgun. Well, this is true.
So Ryan,
they definitely do a thing. Personally, I don't know if I would have one, only because it seems like a lot of work just change a set of strings, Charles, is what I'm saying. And I don't use trems very often. It's very rare that I use a trem at all. So although I do like the idea, if I was in a cover band, just to, we're down half a step. We're not down half a step, stuff like that. I like that. Where I normally use a capo in a band,
Yeah. So, but it is one of those things that for me, a trans-drum is just kind of mystifying, because after watching what Ryan does with it on his show, right? After watching what Ryan does with it on his show, it just amazes me, right? But again, I know that it's way too complex for me. I like things simple.
I have a question for my sister who joined us in the chat. She says, "Who's this guy?" This is the guy that needs the account number for Bell, because my internet went down 3 times during the show so far, so I'm daisy chained to my phone at the moment. So a fella needs to call Bell ASAP, because I've got issues with, I'll call tomorrow because today's Sunday. We know we're not exactly the top people on a Sunday working the phones, Charles, is what I'm having worked the phones myself for a number of years. So, and Cushman anyway sees in here, and I didn't say hi to him because I got kicked offline.
Hello, buddy.
So, Ryan says string changes are quicker and easier than any of my guitars. Well, most of your guitars are Floyd Roses. I'm pretty sure, Ryan, that you could string your Les Paul quicker than you could string your Trans-Trem. I'm just saying. And tune. Maybe the string itself, Charles, might be easy because it's ball ends. You just hook them in and boom, boom, boom. The actual root string, piece of cake. Tuning it, that's a whole other situation.
Well, and it's and hearing them talk about the different versions of the Trans-Trem, right? If a string broke, then you had to recalibrate everything on the first one, I guess it was. Yeah. But But again, let's say that is all too. It is too involved for me.
Michael Crow says, I have no idea who he is. He shows up everywhere. He's like the Canadian Dr. Joyce brothers for YouTube.
It's pretty darn accurate.
Okay, Ryan says TransTrem is quicker. That's a video I need to see. A split screen, Charles, with the clock running, and we time it. And
that would be a pretty cool video. Yeah.
Finding the strings to put on the TransTrem definitely takes longer. I like that octopus here. Locating the strings. So my sister has a task. She's looking for the there
you go
for Bell. So a fella. Oh, I got 3 bars of service. I don't know how that's working down here, but sure.
Definitely a step up. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning.
And don't forget, Transcale Steinberger has built-in capo. This is true. Have pile of strings and no gal that has more. Yes, you do, Ryan. All right. Steven Steinberger pickups in my vintage Hagstrom 12 string. So are those like just EMGs out of a Steinberger, or does Steinberger have their own pickups at a time? I don't know, because the only Steinbergers I know, Charles, is like the one like Ryan has and Eddie Van Halen had with the TransTrem, and then the bass version that seemed like every bass player in the world went, you mean I don't have to have a back-breaking Rickenbacker on my, and they're like, oh, okay, this is cool, like Geddy Lee, The 80s, everyone wore sports jackets with pushed-up sleeves and played Steinbergers. That's the way it worked. Everyone looked like Don Johnson and played Steinbergers. Hashtag 80s.
Oh, so what haven't we covered here? So,
all right.
So heavy metal, right?
Heavy metal. You're gonna want. All right, so I'm gonna go for heavy metal because I don't know I don't know about today's standard. You probably need a Ibanez 7-string tuned to drop Z, and that's what they're playing and stuff. I don't headless stuff, and I don't know. But traditionally, we'll say the thrash. Guess what, Charles? You can do it all on a Gibson Flying V. Oh, Hypercolor. Yeah. I remember the Hypercolor shirts. Man, you would make a fortune, Charles. We'd buy a bunch of, like, anybody that would go to Florida on spring break would always go out and spend all their available money on Hypercolor shirts because they would sell them for triple down there because they were next to impossible to find in the U.S. And they're like, wait, it's a T-shirt that when you sweat changes color? Yes. Or body heat changes the color? Yes.
That's too weird. It
wasn't cool. I didn't get into it myself. Herb asks, what's my thought on a Variax? Well, I don't really see the point myself, only because... All right, so the idea of a Variax, for those who don't know, is, okay, let's say, to get my tone, Charles, I have to crank the snot out of my amp, right? The problem is the people in the first 5 rows of the club gig are having blood coming out the ear canals, so they can't have that. So you put a Variac on it, so you can still crank the piss out of it, but suck some power out of it, so it brings it all down to usable levels.
Nice, right?
Oh, a Hypercolor fabric. I don't know how that would work, but if it did, because the heat from your arm might actually change the color.
Well, see, I don't, but would it do it? I don't think it would do it through the clear, though, because you still have to.
It might, because it's temperature sensitive.
Well, that's true. Okay.
First, you got to find a Hypercolor shirt.
Okay, so all you folks living in Florida, here's your opportunity. Email me, send me a Hypercolor shirt.
No. There's the people in Florida that couldn't get them. They got them all from us Canadians.
Oh, I gotcha.
Canucks. All right, my sister sent me an attachment. I assume that's the info for the ISP.
There you
go. What is that saying?
Hey, Sean's got a point here. You could try a Solar guitar for metal.
Solar. Yeah, that's isn't that Ola? Hey, Box Guitars Rock. You see a lot of LTDs used, Charles. They're very angry looking guitars. Yes.
It wasn't the comment I meant to show. But...
I think Eddie right back. Glad we cleared that up. There's some guy named Presley California Customs in the chat. Never heard of him. Lurking while driving. Okay, Laz.
Well, they are in the same place. Apparently, it's a thing down there.
This is true.
Box Guitar Rock says the Variac is great for testing old tube amps without blowing stuff
right?
up.
Yeah, because you can bring it up. I personally,
I've
never had an even one because I should point out I don't get my gain out of my amp. Like I'm not cranking an amp to get my tone. I use them simply as a loud machine, clean, transparent, as possible. I get all my gain from my pedal board that I'm pointing that you can't see because it's off camera. That's where I get all my gain. So a Variac for me, I just turn my amp down. I don't need one myself, but I get where they can do a thing. It's not for me. It's just another piece of the puzzle I don't need. Oh, the Line 6 Variac's guitar. No, Herb. No. No. Line 6 has never once put out a decent guitar. I like the guys at Line 6, but not for the guitar building.
All right, so Eddie Fay says, okay, you got 5 minutes to recreate the tone for Bad Company's Rock and Roll Fantasy. Go.
All right, you're going to need a Super Strat. You're going to need a Marshall amp. You're going to need set a chorus or a flanger on that tone. There's no delays. Now I got a song in my head. Yeah. I think that was just a chord. Might be a slow flange. Not sure. Didn't PV make something similar to the Variacs? Yeah, and don't buy that either.
Well, that's the other thing I guess when you first start out in guitar, it's you begin learning quickly about what things to avoid.
Right. I like the fact that when Ryan's in your chat and your co-host Seth really has to pay attention to the chat because he'll never tag Seth in the chat because apparently Presley's California Customs to Ryan is Seth Customs. I love it, Ryan.
It's just sometimes you look at the world in a different way, and that's okay. That's why we love Ryan.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, it makes me scratch my head twice a day, giggle 3 times a day, and want to hug him 4 times a day.
Exactly. And where would we be without that, right? Where would we be without
made an amp with a type of design. Okay, now Charles just dipped out for a second. I don't know if that was me or him, although I'm looking a little choppy at the moment, so I don't know.
I don't know. You kind of, but it didn't do anything.
Although I haven't got a weak signal strength all day, so I'm actually. What am I actually? Oh, look at that! I'm actually uploading at just a little over 1 meg, so perfect. Ryan says, "Ben, I'm a simple man." Well, having chatted with Ryan for approximately 35 hours on here, in various Water Buffalo meetings, I agree. No, I love Ryan.
Thank you, Eddie Fay. It looks like they're not seeing choppy on that side, apparently. So
right. Fender made a Variax type thing too with Roland. Yes, no? Ooh, I don't know. I remember. I want to say Roland did like a digital guitar or a Boss guitar. Not too long ago either, the Boss guitar. Don't even get me started on Evertunes, Sean. I don't understand. I couldn't play one of those because Charles knows, like I do a scale. I got to crank on at least one of the strings, with Johnny Highland style. And if I go and nothing changes in the pitch, that freaks me out.
It's true. It's really interesting where this show is going your direction. Yeah.
Right? Like we're getting all the hashtag bad ideas from the 80s, which kind of ties in like Steve from Boston was talking about that with the future of guitars last night, Charles. And, like you were saying, like in the 80s when these Steinbergers and stuff were coming out, you're like, this is the future of guitar. Like this was, but then no, because then grunge happened and went, we'll just use a bunch of old Jaguars and Jazz Masters that barely even stay in tune. And we went from precision engineering in the 80s to, the guitar's not even in tune. And I don't care because I play wearing a cardigan and flannel shirt underneath and with stubbles and, no hairspray used at all. If anything, was to keep the hair down instead of up. So
it's always interesting. It's
always interesting why did I have this guy on? Why?
No, but I mean it's interesting because as a group, guitarists, we're like we say we want innovation, and then when we get it, like no.
Oh, right. Like look at the bashing Gibson took for a decade more, right? Mm-hmm. To the point where they literally had to have dual runs of guitars, the modern and the traditional, because the modern had the robo turners and the titanium nut and the and the wiring and everything, and then they still had to make one. It's just like the 50s, except it's not. But
well, see that was the thing about robo turners, and because I wasn't in guitar when this was a thing, right?
Right.
And so did they actually work, and it was just people weren't used to them, or did they not work and people weren't used to them?
I honestly, what I think it is, Charles, because it takes a minute for them to work. But once you figured it out, it worked, okay? But the biggest problem is, let's say you're playing and you hear one of your notes is a little out. You're not going to think to hit the button to ding, ding, ding. No, you're going to reach up, grab that tuner, and give it a crank to tune it. Well, you just broke it.
Yeah. That's
the problem. What's up, Basement Guitar Superstar? Been a minute, Dan. Good to see you. That and with the modern wiring, like as far as I'm concerned, any guitar with a pickup should be a 4-wire pickup with the availability to coil split, coil tap, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Vox Guitar Rocks. The Epi Valve Junior is a relatively new acquisition, and when I got it, it was interesting. The carriage inside was put in backwards, and I had to flip it around.
So clearly, I was servicing the amp before it was sold to Charles.
Maybe.
Yeah, Ryan show over on the Ryan Network on 5 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. Check it out, folks. He'll be playing guitar. John DeShane and Trev will be there if they bother to wake up, and our 2 or 3 Locking Nut, who's already awake because we saw him in the chat.
And so, and if you've been living under a rock and you don't have that link, it is now in the chat.
Perfect.
Ryan, you have a great
made the self-tuning guitar that Jimmy Page used a while back. I don't remember that guitar. Although a cool thing, I don't know how cool it was. I remember playing or demoing too an Epiphone / something, or like an Appetite for Destruction burst guitar, true. And the pickup ring had a tuner built into it.
Really?
With the lights. Like yeah. But the only thing I didn't like about it was when you gauged it, it didn't mute your signal, which would be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little hard. Yeah. So, we got a question from Bonkers. What's up, Bonkers?
Just want to say hello to Basement Guitar Superstar. Hadn't seen him around in a while, so good to see you. Thank you very much. Oh, so Bonkers has a question, huh?
Yep.
Here we go. So, Ben and Charles, if you had to buy another guitar today, what would it be?
Clearly, the Wailing
Tilly. The Wailing Tilly, if I had the money, but
that's the dream. That's the dream. The reality?
Absolute dream.
Thank you, sis, by the way.
But then, there has been a brand of guitar that I've been wanting to have ever since I first started playing.
Yeah.
And a fella is seriously thinking about buying one right now.
Oh, okay. And what would that be?
You know the word.
Gretsch?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you should.
I've decided it is time. It is time. And
now, does that mean you're gonna actually pry open that wallet more than a fraction of a hair and let a moth or two escape and actually go for fair market value instead of Charles market value, which is always 23% cheaper than fair market value.
Well, that's an interesting story because there are two I actually have my eye on that are at pretty much fair market value.
Okay.
And I'm sliding that way because one is like, like a violent sunburst, right? So with the bigs being, nice and thick hollow body. So,
that's a good question. There's a couple, and this is just right as of right now, Charles. One, I'd like to get another P90 guitar, and I really think about that P90 Les Paul I demoed a few months ago because I really bonded with that guitar. Like I really bonded with that guitar, so I'm kind of thinking I'd like a P90 Les Paul, or I'm kind of hankering for a Firebird for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that have anything?
I know it. I blame Uncle Larry because he keeps pulling out all the Firebirds on his videos lately, and I was like, fella might need one of them. Also, a 335 is on the list.
I think a 335 is always on the list, right? Even if you've already got one, it's like.
And of course, the ES 175, but that's another unicorn thing because I don't even think they currently make that. I don't even know if the custom shop currently makes one. Because when's the last time we saw a full hollow body coming out from Gibson?
No.
Since they shut down the Memphis plant.
No, you're more likely to see a blocked semi-hollow than you are.
Yeah, like all you're going to see is the 335, or they'll leave the center block out and make a casino.
And but for me, the telly I don't have.
The telly you don't have, yeah.
That I need to have is a P90 telly.
Well, they do a thing. I'm speaking from experience. They do a thing. Dan says, Ben, if you want a P90 Les Paul, you should try that vintage V100 PBB with the Wilkinson equivalent. There's no vintages for sale. Like I bought my vintage used at Long McQuaid, but I don't know if you can buy vintage new without importing them, Charles, in Canada. Like I don't know who sells vintage guitars in Canada, and I'm one of those guys. I have to play the guitar before buying it. I will not buy a guitar sight unseen because I got to feel the neck, and and there's nothing. So far, my experience with vintage over the years has been nothing but good. But like, let's just take Gibson and their build quality, which is decent, Charles. I can play 10 Les Pauls, and there's two that I like, and I can't tell you why I like those two over the other ones, but. It's rare, but once in a while, a Les Paul will speak to me. And that one, and literally, I want that exact. I don't want a Les Paul with P90s. I want that Les Paul with P90s.
Well, the thing that I found out about myself is I'm really kind of like a Strat and Telly guy.
Right.
In semi-hollow anything, right? Hollow body anything is me. But those are the things that draw me, right? And it's not often that when I look at a Les Paul shaped object that I'm pulled in. But I was telling you when Octopus Ears was showing off his yesterday, and then I saw the video, I was like, I need that.
Right. Well,
and that doesn't happen with me in Les Pauls. It just doesn't.
Dan says, I'm pretty sure they just got a Canadian distributor. Okay. Yeah, like I haven't really paid attention to them it's over a year that I've had mine now. Scary that it is. Yeah, it's weird. Like I don't really think about Les Pauls much, Charles, I'll be honest with you. But I also have a lot of miles on Les Pauls though, too, right?
Right.
In a former life. That's the thing. I switched from them to Tellys when I switched bands because I literally wanted two different rigs. I was playing Les Pauls exclusively in drop C, high gain metal. Which, by the way, modern metal, you can use a Les Paul. I did. And then also playing classic rock and alternative. So I went Telly into a Fender amp Go figure. Lower gain. So, and then that's what time I started YouTube was I was fully into Teleworld. Mm-hmm. But like I say, I literally spent years playing nothing but Les Pauls. So when I pick one up, it is kind of like seeing an old friend in many ways. Like, oh yeah, I remember, the feeling with the arch top and the way the bridge is so much higher away from the body, compared to a Tele, which is everything's right down, surface mounted. So, yeah.
Well, they're getting silly in the chat now.
Oh, all right.
So, because, Vox Guitar Rock says, I blame Johnny Winter for wanting a Firebird, but I prefer Camaros anyway.
I like what you did there.
And then, of course, BC Rich not to be outdone.
Nyrock hollow body. Nice.
Here's an interesting idea.
Telly with a single Firebird pickup. Okay. Because the Firebird pickup is like a mini humbucker, but it's not the same as the mini humbuckers, Charles. And the reason I mention that is because they don't have those one set of pole pieces exposed like a mini humbucker, right?
Right.
I want to say wasn't there a guy that threw a Firebird pickup? Like I know, was it Danny Gatton put a mini hum in his, but I think somebody did do a Firebird pickup in a Tele, and I don't know who that was.
I don't know. That I
in the Jazzmaster. Okay. Now are those Jazzmaster, those big oversized single coils, which are not the same as P90s, or are you talking actual P90s in a Jazzmaster, which I haven't seen since what was that series? The Noventa series, which I found out later. That's just 90 fucking Spanish.
Yes.
I thought it was some cool sounding name, Charles. Didn't realize.
Well, that's like the car, the Chevy Nova, right?
Right.
It was a big hit in the U.S. and Canada, right? But it wasn't so popular in Spanish-speaking countries because Nova meant no go.
That's right. Whereas Nova in Greek, you have the Greek gods, Nova, space. But yeah, watch what you say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So tools of the trade, we covered them.
Well, yeah, we're definitely getting there, and interesting things are that pop up here. So he really likes this 335, and he's replaced all the electronics, right? So,
of course. That's what I love too is when someone's like they'll compare their guitar to another guitar, but they've replaced the pickups, the wiring, the knot, the bridge. It's like. But you're not. That isn't one of those guitars anymore. It's now a custom guitar. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so Wayne McConnell is kicking himself for trading his 69 Firebird for a house stereo.
Hey, you know what? I can relate, Charles, because I sold a 72 Les Paul Deluxe for a home stereo.
Oh.
Well, toward the home stereo. I actually paid more for the home stereo than I got for the Les Paul because I only got I think I sold it for $500 because it was at the height of grunge, or right before grunge hit. I can't remember which, but Les Pauls weren't really worth anything. It was just an old Les Paul with mini hums. So
definitely. So one of the things before I forget, we end up rounding out the show
tonight, I have Charles Green on as a guest. Just saying, on my show, if you haven't seen my channel, please. We're what? Last time I checked, 68 away from 5,000 subs. 68 away.
So make sure you head on over to Ben's channel tonight and check out
Charles Green tonight. And then 1 week tonight, we're doing our Halloween extravaganza, which if you'd like to be a part of it, all you have to do is have a costume and come on and hang out with my sister Amanda and myself. Amongst others. I don't know who else. I'm trying to guilt Charles in to showing up, and he said, I don't know.
I will be there. I already have costume figured out.
You already told me you're gonna just get yourself a Gretsch hat and a pair of glasses. Well, you also need a wig. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Herb says he's one away from 150 subs. Check out Herb.
It may already be done.
Guitar Rock says probably has your old Les Paul now. Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw it at a music store in Whitby a couple years ago when I went up there with Absolute Mayhem. I walked in and I'm looking at this guitar hanging up there. I'm like, I'm 99% sure that's my old Les Paul.
Hey, Ben, Guitar Man 45 is in the chat.
Hello, yeah, I know. And he's looking for like a 62 custom shop, 63 custom shop Firebird. And then I said, hey, can I borrow it for a decade or two? And he said, put together a list. I could put together a list.
So make sure that if you've ever checked out, if you have never checked out Octopus Here's channel, make sure that you do and realize that he is starting off that new Wednesday show at 10 a.m. his time Pacific. So want to make sure I got that in there before I forgot.
I will probably not be tuning in the first few weeks live, only because Wednesdays I'm usually out doing stuff that time of day. But as the weather, gets colder and crappier, I will more than likely be around and be able to tune in live as opposed to on replay. So I don't know what else do we have. We hit the hour mark. We told you some cool channels to check out. Of course, I self-promoted as I do. I took the show well off the rails as always. That's okay. I came up with a topic, so I can ignore the topic. That's
right. Yeah, I think it works that way.
Yeah, that's how Charles works. He invites you on the show and says, "So, what do you want to talk about?"
Well, it's here's the thing
from tonight.
If you're going to be engaged, right? If you're going to be engaged in the process, it's going to be something you want to talk about.
I was engaged once. It didn't work out well. Anyway, yes. Bo was asking, when is this costume thing? 1 week from tonight on my channel. Buy a nice multi-tool to maintain your guitars. I've got a little multi-tool that's specifically designed for guitars, Charles. I don't know if you know. It's got some screwdriver ends. It's got some various size hex keys, and stuff, and it's just a little tiny. Hey, brother Tom, love you too, and thank you for the thing that you did.
Tom,
appreciate that, brother. Where's my knees hurt? He was looking for you last night, Tom. He's like, "Hey, let's see Tom around." I said, "Yeah, right there."
It is always such a great time with everybody here. Just as we start wrapping things up, realize that this is the final Sunday for Guitar Safari, and Guitar Safari's new time is Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central.
Ryan, can I let go of the wire now, man?
Yes. Love it.
This is how Ryan makes me laugh at least 3 times a day.
And that makes it all worthwhile. Yeah. But Guitar Safari will be on Friday nights at 8 Central from now on.
Yeah, forget about that Cone Talk show. Guitar Safari.
Guitar Safari.
Way better.
And but there will be next week there will be a new show in this spot here with me and random other
Charles
people.
Freeze? Did I freeze? Who froze?
Somebody froze. I don't know.
Somebody froze. I was like, somebody say something in the chat so I know if it's me or not.
It really is. Hey, so is your chat moving? Is your chat moving?
Yeah. Oh. Quit freezing yourself.
Oh, but yeah. So we're gonna do all that. Ben, thank you so much for coming on.
Always happy to help you out, whenever I'm available. Wish I could do it every week, but I don't know. Bookending 2 shows 8 hours apart every week, then I'd probably make you co-host on my show on Sunday nights at a payback. Next thing you know, Charles was moving in with me, and because the wife's like, "You like Ben better than me."
Well, you would figure if that happened, the decision to make the delay until he might be easier, hence precipitating the move.
Right.
Everyone, thank you so much for coming, and we certainly appreciate it. It's not a place to be unless you're here, and so we really
without y'all, we'd just be talking to ourselves, and we can, but it's not as much fun.
Not as much.
The community is the best part of all this, and we say tonight you got Charles Green. We're talking about Sunset. I got Motley Crue news, more Motley news. So
awesome.
And then of course Ryan at 5. Pete Thorne at some point today. Don't know because he's out on tour being a rock star. Must be nice. Well,
it is something else.
I'm going to say pop star. He's back in Nick Carter. It's not exactly rock. It's rock adjacent. Some cover tunes. Rock adjacent. Looking forward to their show next Sunday. Lucas says, "Hey, there's your guest next Sunday, Charles." Just saying.
Yeah, definitely. And so, if you are interested in becoming a co-host,
credits. If you would like to be part of the studio audience, reach out to P.O. Box.
It's one of
the shows.
The whole idea was, there was the Friday time seems to be working well for a lot of people. There were a lot of comments that way, but then there were a lot of comments. Okay, well, what are we going to do with our Sunday time? And so I feel obligated.
We've been on the West Coast.
Yes. But no, if you are interested in emails on my channel, we can talk.
Just say Octopus Ears. I broke my brother's Nick Carter CD he bought when he was like 7. I feel like I made the right decision.
You did. And with that, we're out, Ben.
You can't pop that. See you, folks. Happy tone chasing.
Have a good one, folks. Enjoy that tone chase.
Cue the music.